A note of warning. This podcast explores graphic and disturbing stories and includes strong language. It therefore may not be suitable for our young listeners or other folks who may find it disturbing. Hello and welcome to True Crime Daily, the podcast bringing you high-profile and under-the-radar cases from across the country for the week of July 31st, 2019. I'm Billy Jensen, and this is Owen Michael.
Hello.
And we've got a special guest with us to talk true crime. This week, we've got Lisa Lillian, the Hungry Girl.
Hello, hello.
Welcome,
How are
Lisa.
you?
I'm great. Excited to be here.
Now, you've got millions of subscribers for your daily email to tell about healthy recipes, tips and tricks, supermarket survival. You also got a lot of other things going on, too.
I'm a food-obsessed mad scientist who is also obsessed with crime.
Right. And that's what we're going to be talking
You're in
about.
the right place.
You are in the right place because that is what we do here. We talk about crime. So this week, these are the stories that we've got for you. Two brothers who run a livestock business, has something to do with food.
Indeed.
Go missing after visiting a farm in Missouri, and a cattle hustler is held in connection to their disappearance. A missing Alabama woman is found at the bottom of a well covered in concrete. Two American teens are held in Rome after allegedly assaulting and killing an Italian police officer after a drug deal gone sideways. And a local social media campaign reunites a stolen dog with its owner and results in a dog napping arrest. But first, a Southern California man is convicted in a scheme to make his business partner disappear and catfish the man's family into thinking that he was just traveling abroad and not dead. Owen, what's going on in the case of Edward Shin in California?
Well, first of all, welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
Excited to have you aboard this week. This one in particular is coming out of California this week. This is the story of Edward Shin and Chris Smith. They went into business together in 2010, starting an internet advertising agency called 800exchange.com in the San Juan Capistrano beach town in Orange County, California, about halfway between LA and San Diego. These two made very good money very quickly, running lower your credit card debt type ads on radio and TV and online. This is back in 2010, of course. You can call an 800 number, leave your name and contact info, and Shin and Smith would then sell your details as sales leads to debt consolidators and telemarketers and all those great people. They were reportedly making millions by their second year of their business together, and they doubled that in their third year, this is according to Edward Shin. At the time, Shin was 32, Chris Smith was 33. According to friends and family, Chris Smith was a bit eccentric. Let me give you a photo of these guys. He had always talked about getting rich enough to drop off the grid and leave the country, travel, live in Costa Rica, do the whole international thing. So when he emailed his family in June of 2010 that he and his girlfriend, a Playboy playmate, were off to travel the world, starting with a chartered yacht, heading off to South America, everyone assumed that he had made it happen. His family received more emails from the Galapagos Islands, from Peru and Chile. "I love it down here. I might never come back," he said in one of his emails. Weeks later, they got messages saying Smith had broken up with his girlfriend, that he was doing drugs, and he was thinking about doing the unspeakable. But by the fall of 2010, Smith was sending messages to friends and family again from India, then Turkey, Egypt, Morocco, and then South Africa. He told his brother he was going to sell some gold to a dealer in Rwanda, and then he would meet him in Costa Rica for a surf trip. That was the last time anybody actually heard from Chris Smith.
And this is one of those cases, we've seen this before, where people take over somebody's social media profile or their phone and start texting. And because this is the way that we communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We rarely ever pick up the phone anymore. This is what we do. So if you had gone missing for a little bit and somebody was texting on or posting on your social media, do you think they'd be able to get your brand, your voice?
No chance.
Nobody
There's
knows
no
you that
chance.
well.
And nobody would fool me either. So I am very familiar with this case. I actually watched a 2-hour Dateline episode about it a while back. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, wow, his family they were onto this.
Yeah,
and
the brother.
Then there was like a situation where the brother ran into the so-called Playboy model that he was dating, and then she had the exact same name, was the same photo that they had emailed him, and it was not her. He's like, "How's my brother? How was the trip?" And she said, like, "What the heck are you talking about?" So
Yeah.
I think it took a while for them to really catch on.
As part of the details on this, apparently the emails were written sort of in his vernacular, and they were intentionally had typos and things like that. So I suppose if you're the family and you know that this guy doesn't write a lot of emails, you might, and so he doesn't have much of an established voice, or he is the type of guy who makes a lot of typos and sends off emails like that. Maybe, the voice is a little obscured versus somebody who's, who it worked for a little while anyway.
Yeah.
Not to give too much away from this. But on the other hand, too, don't go to Rwanda and sell gold.
Well,
and do
it's
gold
interesting
things
because
like that.
what's going on here is that they're sort of setting it up. Whoever is doing this is setting it up to saying like, I might do the unspeakable, which I'm guessing is suicide. That's where they're leading
where they
it.
were getting with it.
And then they kind of, maybe they're checking the news, trying to see if they go searching for him down there, and nobody does anything. So they lose the idea of the suicide, and then they start going into India and Turkey, Egypt, Morocco, and then selling gold to a dealer in Rwanda, which is leading it really sort of like, this is going to be some nefarious
in this
thing
email too, he said he was going to travel through Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is arguably one of the most dangerous places on the planet. So it definitely
he might as well
like
just say like, I'm going to be like an offshore fisherman or something.
Yeah, or going to hook up some pirates and go fishing.
Yeah, exactly. So by the spring of 2011, Smith's worried brother contacted the property of a place they always stayed in Costa Rica when they visited. But the property manager said he hadn't seen Chris. And that March, Smith's family reported him missing to the U.S. State Department, who informed them that there was no record of Chris Smith had ever even left the States. So the family contacts the Laguna Beach Police, another Orange County town just down the coast where Smith had been living. And Edward Shin told Smith's dad that Chris had acquired a fake passport and was traveling under a false name. In June 2011, Shin was questioned at the Laguna Beach police station. He told detectives he had shady past business practices and was being investigated for embezzlement, and Smith probably ran to avoid civil litigation by association. He told police that Smith had agreed to be bought out of his half of the business and had taken $1 million in cash, signed the business over to Shin, and then left town.
You imagine if the State Department is, you're frantic about you haven't seen or heard from your brother or your son, and you report him missing, and the State Department's like, hey, he never left. You need to check your backyard. That's got to be pretty heartbreaking. Then you really start being paranoid and freaking out, and what's all this information that I've been receiving? So in January 2011, Edward Shin had actually closed the 800 Exchange office, .com office in San Juan Capistrano. Keep in mind, this was 2010 in June when Chris Smith allegedly took off. So Shin shut down the offices. He stiffed the landlord for $40,000 in back rent. Another tenant in the office building there actually was a private investigations firm, a service, was also in that building. They looked into their former neighbors on behalf of the landlord. One of the PIs went looking around in the abandoned office suite. He found blood. He found blood on a light switch, on a doorway, on the ceiling. Later DNA tests confirmed that it was indeed Chris Smith's blood. On August 28th, 2011, Edward Shin is in Los Angeles International Airport, just boarding a flight to Canada when officers arrive and arrest him. They charge him with murder with special circumstances for financial gain. Police and sheriff's investigators believe that Shin stabbed or bludgeoned Chris Smith in their office on that Friday, June 4th, 2010, the day that Chris Smith supposedly took his check, emailed his family, and then dropped off the grid. So Shin tells police that he and Smith had gotten into a vicious fight over this embezzlement and possible investigation that afternoon after the employees had all left early. He said that Smith had tried to kill him. He was defending himself, and he said he smashed Smith's head on a corner of the desk. He watched him collapse and die, but he didn't call police because he didn't think that they would believe his story. So he talked to a Las Vegas acquaintance that he knew. He used to do business in Las Vegas. This Las Vegas acquaintance put him in touch with an unnamed Eastern European man. I'm putting air quotes up. Shin told police who he paid about $15,000 to dispose of Smith's body back at the office, gave him the entry code and gave him directions how to get there. Goes back to the office later. Body's gone, but the place is still a bloody mess. So then he hires a cleaning service to scrub the place under the table, according to Shin.
And apparently they didn't do that good.
Apparently not, although by all accounts it was really bloody, and these, there were some, they just weren't that good, whatever the thing was. Shin told police that basically he was going to flee and he was going to drive to Mexico and drop off, he was going to go into hiding. But it turns out that Shin does have a family. He has a wife and 3 kids. So he decided, when he told police, that he would forge Smith's signature, sign over the business to himself, and then start sending emails to the family and friends of Smith for months. He even made up the Playmate girlfriend who had basically found this person online and said, I'm appropriating that, which led to confusion later with the brother. He's since apologized for sending the emails and misleading Smith's family.
Did he apologize for the murder too?
Well, I don't have that on record.
Okay.
Well, he's probably still saying it's self-defense at some point.
Exactly.
And then I read something that of this whole case I could kind of relate to, because if I were going to go on the run, he had stocked up on a bunch of beef jerky from Costco and was planning on keeping it in his car and driving to Mexico and not having to stop for food. Kind of like that woman that was
the woman
who wore the diapers.
The astronaut
Exactly.
Yes.
You got strategies there, people.
Strategies. And he, at some point, I believe he faked his own kidnapping as well.
So there's another case. I was trying to track down these details. The LA Times does talk about how he had faked his own abduction in the past. He targeted his own dad for ransom payments. I don't know what the details of that. The LA Times made brief reference to this. I haven't been able to figure out the details on that. But and then plus he had a reputation in Vegas, and he was accused of embezzling from this former company. So sort of a piece of a Southern California sort of shady business guy.
So he's trying to set it up as possibly manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, illegal disposal of a body. He's thinking, okay, man, if I can just lay that out there, maybe I'll just get 10. Smith's body was never found. Prosecutors believe Shin rented a truck and dumped Smith's body near the Mexican border. So Shin is 41 now, and he was convicted in December. The reason why we're talking about this now is that on Friday he was sentenced to prison. What did he get? He got life in prison without parole. The LA Times reports the prosecutor noted that if Shin would produce the body, tell authorities where to find it, they could confirm Smith died from a single impact point on the skull, which would have corroborated his story. The body sets him free. I wouldn't necessarily say sets him free, but that's a little weird that he said that. But this is the deputy district attorney saying this. The body sets him free, and he makes no effort to find it. Deputy DA Matt Murphy said in his closing argument, somewhere out there right now, in between a couple of bushes in the sand, there's a grave that gets a little older every year. Also, as we talked about, Edward had faked his own abduction to try to get money out of his father. We highly recommend you go read the GQ article for this long-form story by James Vlahos. It's really good and has a lot of
There's a ton
really
of details here
that
we're sort of compressing it for time. But as Lisa said, there's been some coverage of this in the past, and there's so many wacky details on this stuff that this guy thought that he was going to get away with it.
How much beef jerky would you need during an escape?
It goes a long way.
It depends on how long the car trip is, but it is loaded with protein.
I love beef jerky.
And it's low in fat.
San Juan Capistrano, San Clemente down to Mexico. You're there in an hour, and then what? You drive around. Where would you drive to?
I don't know.
Mexico?
I don't even know. I'm unfamiliar with most of Mexico. But I'd be happy to have the jerky.
Well, before you commit your next crime, allegedly.
I'm crimeless.
Think about that. But it's true. The guy makes a good point. The DA, anyway. If they could find the body, if he knew where it was, you do have an out. You could say, you know what, I made this whole story up. I actually disposed of the body myself, except that would put the lie to it if indeed the guy has multiple crush points on his skull, or if he's got a bunch of stab wounds in him or something like that.
Yeah.
So he didn't.
And it's obviously that's what the family was saying. The family was probably saying, yes, we want justice, but we also want to know where his body is, and we just want to give him a proper burial.
Indeed.
So,
and maybe, maybe Shin will come clean about this, but at least he's going away forever.
All right.
Just a small amount of justice
now we're going
there.
to go to Wisconsin and Missouri for the Dymel brothers. Nick Dymel, who's 35 years old, and his brother Justin Dymel, 24, were visiting a farm in Missouri on business this month. Now, the brothers run a livestock business in Wisconsin and contract farms around the country to raise cattle for them. The brothers missed their flight back to Wisconsin on July 21st and didn't return calls from the family, and they reported missing on that Sunday. The brothers from Bondul, Wisconsin, about 30 miles outside of Green Bay, were visiting a town called Bramer, a small town of about 900 people, about an hour outside of Kansas City.
A little place.
So sheriff's deputies found their rental truck parked in a lot in another small Missouri town about 40 miles away near an interstate highway. The truck had its lights on and the engine was running. The Caldwell County Sheriff's Office in Missouri says Nick Dymel rented a truck on July 20th. He and his brother Justin were visiting a man named Garland Nelson to meet about a cattle deal, according to CNN. They were in Missouri to visit other farms in the area as well. Hotel security video shows the two brothers checking out of the hotel the morning of July 21st. And that truck, the rented Ford F-2250 truck's GPS indicated the truck left the Comfort Inn in a town about 30 miles from Bramer and traveled to the 74-acre farm where Garland Nelson runs his operations and arrived there around 9:30 a.m. About 3 hours later, the truck leaves the farm and arrives at a commuter parking lot in Holt, Missouri, where deputies later found it still running with its lights on.
It's curious.
Yes.
Security video from a general store nearby and a video from a bank shows a single occupant driving the truck, according to court documents. Garland Nelson, he was charged last week with tampering with a vehicle. He is currently being held without bond. Nelson reportedly admitted to investigators that he drove the truck to where it was found, according to court documents. He is said to be cooperating with authorities, though a sheriff's deputy did say that Nelson had tried to mislead authorities, and indeed, they said he was a danger to the community, and so that's why they wanted to keep him locked up, according to the Kansas City Star newspaper. As of this morning, the brothers were missing. Authorities classified the search as a death investigation after the truck was located. We should say that late breaking this afternoon, about 3:30 p.m. local time in Wisconsin, authorities announced that they had found human remains. They are not saying who it was. The identity is not confirmed, nor the condition of the bodies or the cause of death or anything like that. However, we've seen this movie before. It's somewhat likely that those are the guys. As we say, Nelson's held without bond. Complicating the search efforts, recent heavy rain, at least 5 inches worth in the recent days, has made it difficult for Callaway County Sheriff's Office investigators as well as other agencies during the search. Said they got a lot of tips. Garland Nelson is 25 years old. He was released from prison last year after serving time for a loan fraud and insurance fraud for selling about 600 cattle that he didn't own, costing his victims more than $260,000, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Missouri. So it's sort of a modern-day cattle. I said hustler instead of rustler because he wasn't actually physically going out there and stealing stuff, but apparently he had taken a loan from the government and had been mixing and matching and moving cattle around here and there, and apparently it caught up with him. So he served about 2 years before he got out of prison last spring, and now here we are today. Yeah. He's accused of whatever went down here. It's unclear what would have gone on. We're going
to know what went on, what motive. Was somebody calling him out on some other practices that he was doing, and then...
And if you're going to enter into a business deal with someone out of state, you want to do a little online research. I think the internet is great. It's awful and it's fantastic at the same time. Sure. But you got to get the backstory.
I mean, but if you're dealing with cattle and you see a guy, he's run fraud before, and you're sort of, okay, on the one hand, on the other hand, maybe we can get this guy at a good deal because he's desperate for business or who knows what, or maybe they didn't know anything about it. I certainly, even though with that kind of history, though, I certainly wouldn't have suspected that this might end up in a physical assault or death if I arrived there. Who knows? Obviously it's pure speculation, but what could have led to these guys being disappeared like this? And even in rural Missouri, I mean, this place is farmland. This is way out there. He drove the truck 40 miles away. Two places, general store and a bank, security video still caught him. I mean, in this day and age, you sort of have to do a little bit better of a job if you're gonna try to plot to get away with something. It seems to me.
This guy obviously is not that great of a criminal.
Could have been a crime of opportunity, or
he had gone to.
Well, he's a convicted criminal.
So he's a convicted criminal, and we'll see what happens in this case. But
I'm curious. I am curious to find out what went down.
Yeah.
What could it have been?
Yeah.
Exactly. We could think of 1,000 reasons, but that would be speculation, and we certainly wouldn't want to do that. We will update that more when we have more information on this case. We do provide regular updates on truecrimedaily.com. You can also check out our stuff on Facebook with from our True Crime Daily page, and of course we have news stories every week on YouTube, as well as this podcast on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. And you can also call us. Call us at 888-548-9758. Share your comments or questions about any cases we've been talking about. We'll run them here on the air. Add your voice to the conversation. So for our next story, Bill, take us away to Alabama.
Alabama, Willa Watkins. Marka Willa Watkins was 20 years old when she went missing in June in Jefferson County, Alabama, in the Birmingham area. Willa Watkins was close to her grandmother, AL.com reported. Willa's grandmother last talked to her on FaceTime on Saturday, June 17th. Willa was very active on social media, according to her grandmother, and when she went silent online, her grandmother reported her missing on June 25th. There are conflicting reports of where she was last seen. Some of them said she was last seen near Bessemer, Alabama, which is just outside of Birmingham, while others said she may have been in the Lakeview area, which is 15 miles further southwest, and she did not own a car. So Jefferson and Tuscaloosa County investigators were inundated with tips. On Sunday, July 28th, investigators acted on one of those tips and went to a vacant house with a well on the property in a rural area about 20 miles east of Tuscaloosa. There, county workers excavated ground on the property and found a body at the bottom of the well. That took 12 hours. The well is 35 feet deep, according to the Tuscaloosa News. Investigators tentatively identified the body as Willa Watkins, and a sheriff's lieutenant said her body was not discarded in a hasty fashion. It took planning and multiple people. Concrete had apparently or reportedly been poured on Watkins' body in the well.
That's horrible.
So deputies arrested 29-year-old Kendall Taylor Battles and 20-year-old Joseph Brandon Neville. They were both charged with murder and abuse of a corpse. Others allegedly involved have been identified by investigators who say more arrests are possible. On Thursday, a third suspect, 27-year-old Devin Trent Hall, was charged with murder and abuse of a corpse. Hall had already been incarcerated in the Jefferson County Jail since July 19th on drug charges.
Not a pleasant bunch of people to hang around with.
No. And do we even know if she was dead when she was put in the well and the concrete was poured over her?
We don't, although it seems we've got some details about how she ended up incapacitated, and it doesn't seem likely that she survived this. What sheriff's investigators have so far, they believe Willa was at one of the two men's houses, located about 15 miles away from where she ultimately ended up in this well. They think she was assaulted and killed there before the suspects drove her to the other house and dumped her in the well, but it's like I say, it's not clear yet. Court documents say that Joseph Neville's told an investigator that Willa had stolen his phone. Neville's is the gentleman in the middle here for our viewers on YouTube.
He looks angry.
He does look angry. He said he got his phone stolen by Willow. He said he hit her on the head with a shotgun, according to AL.com. Just had a shotgun hanging around and used it to hit her by his own account. Then he and two other men, these other two other men, along with an unidentified woman thus far, beat Willow with their hands, their feet, and a baseball bat, according to the court documents. Then Neville's, again the guy in the middle here, strangled Willow with an extension cord, probably killing her there. They have recovered a baseball bat from the home. Joseph Neville's and Kendall Battles both been arrested on domestic violence charges in the past. Willa Watkins' mother, it's not a good family history here. She was brutally killed in 2015, AL.com reports. Miranda Lynch, that's Willow's mother, was abducted and held by three women back in 2015 who beat her repeatedly over the course of several days. She was found on the bathroom floor of a mobile home in August 2015 in a pool of her own blood. Three women have been charged with her murder. They were after the woman's the woman's boyfriend's food stamps, according to AL.com. So it gives you kind of a snapshot into the local goings on here. Watkins' father is also dead. It's unclear how he died, but he's not been in the picture. Watkins' cousin told AL.com she grew up hard in a hard life around a lot of drugs. She wanted to do better, but she got involved with some bad people, and she couldn't get away from them.
Sad.
All right. So we're going to go from Alabama.
Putting concrete down a well to cover your tracks. Yeah. That's
no. They seemed like they were. And here's the thing: they would have never found her probably if not for somebody. It might have been. I mean, who dropped dime? So it wasn't probably these three guys. Might have been this other woman in the picture, or these are just the kind of people that just talk a lot. They heard somebody say it, and they said,
and
picked up
most
the
of your petty
right
criminals are not criminal masterminds and that kind of thing for pre-planning nor after the fact, keeping things under wrap. Plus drugs are involved. You're talking about some unstable people, but it's not clear whose house this other place that the well was at, but they knew apparently enough that it was abandoned. Nobody would be there, nobody looking there, and nobody would find any problem with concrete down their well. Yeah. But that's unusual. People covering their bodies and covering up things like that.
Well, listen, they were trying,
that's
35 feet down and then concrete on top of it. They're basically just creating a false floor to the bottom of the well. No one's going to ever look there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see some more information how they caught these guys.
Okay, so we're going from Alabama to Rome. 2 American teens were accused of attacking 2 plainclothes cops in Rome, Italy, fatally stabbing one of them after a drug deal gone bad. Finnegan Elder, 19, and Gabrielle Natal, 18, both from the San Francisco Bay Area, are being held in Rome. The teens were allegedly drunk and trying to buy cocaine in the city. The details are sketchy, but the New York Post reports that the 2 paid $100 for what turned out to be crushed aspirin. Somehow they ended up stealing a backpack belonging either to the dealer or to the go-between and demanded their money and a gram of real cocaine in return for the backpack. The man contacted police, who set up a sting for the teens. The teens showed up later at the prescribed meeting place near their hotel and were met by 2 plainclothes cops. The teens said the cops never identified themselves, and fearing for their lives, the teens attacked the cops. Police say Finnegan Elder stabbed one of the cops 11 times in the chest with a 7-inch blade. Undercover cop Mario Riga died at the scene, and the teens fled.
7-inch blade. That's a long blade. Serious knife. And it's 2 American kids, partying, drunk, looking to score drugs in Rome.
Did they speak Italian?
Apparently, the Natal guy has relatives in Italy and was staying there, and this Finnegan Elder visited him there. So maybe the one kid who had family there and lived there spoke enough passable Italian. But Rome is also quite possibly the most visited, or at least top 3 tourist destinations in the world. And so the locals probably don't have a lot of tolerance for a bunch of drunk American kids on this kind of stuff. And
also, you can get by pretty well speaking.
Yeah,
English in Rome.
I was just in 2019, as a matter of fact.
Are the kids trying to say that the cops they were not wearing uniforms? So were they trying to say they didn't understand that they were policemen?
They said that they were saying that, unfamiliar situation, not familiar with the language. We just kind of messed around with this other guy on the street and in an apparent drug deal, and now he's got 2 guys with him that are cops, even though we don't know they're cops. So assuming that they're 2, youngish men, physically fit, probably thought that they were, according to their story, of course, probably thought that these guys were the heavies and were going to beat them up or something like that. This is what they say. And so they thought they were being set up. They thought they were going to be cornered and they were going to get rolled. And so they fought back. And allegedly this stabbing happened. So then, as Billy said, they fled, and they were later found later that night at their hotel, which was not too far away. The police found the knife hidden in the bathroom ceiling, and it had been washed off already, according to Italian police. Police said Finnegan Elder had brought the World War II era Marines-style knife. So I'm thinking like a K-bar, which is like a Rambo knife, if you will. Said he brought this knife from the States. He told police that he was being strangled by one of the cops, and he had stabbed Mario Riga in self-defense. No marks were found on Finnegan Elder. Mario Riga's partner said they both verbally identified themselves to the teens several times and had shown their badges. The teens have reportedly since confessed. They were being held in solitary confinement in a Roman prison this week. If convicted, they could face life in prison there. Relatedly, before we get to that, it has shades of Amanda Knox. Every story about this sort of
anytime an American kid is going to get arrested for killing somebody, you're going to think Amanda Knox, especially in Italy. I know Amanda had said that people had been texting her, wanting to get her, like news agencies, just hey, it's a chance to get Amanda Knox on there. But she has been doing the right thing. She wants to see what's coming out, what the information is going to be, so you don't rush to judgment, which is what happened. In her case,
absolutely. Yeah. So to give you a little background, this is what the San Francisco Chronicle reports about Finnegan Elder. He had been charged in 2016 with assault. He was at a party. He had punched another teen at a party in San Francisco one night. The victim was a teammate of Elder's on the school's football team. This punch resulted in the teammate who was hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, and the kid sustained a severe brain injury in the assault. He's since been okay, and he's gone off to college, and et cetera. But Elder was suspended from the team, and he was tried in juvenile court. But since juvenile court, the records are not, they don't show what punishment he faced. They haven't been unsealed. ABC News reports that Finnegan Elder's father arrived in Rome this week, accompanied by a public defender from San Francisco. The slain policeman, Mario Riga, had been married in the same church 6 weeks ago, in that church that he was laid to rest this week on Monday. But so a couple of things. I mean, they've got a public defender from San Francisco. Maybe it's a speculation, but this part of San Francisco they were from was, I believe it was Mill Valley. I'll have to double check on the details of that. But this is a fairly affluent area of San Francisco, which makes me think. I'm curious as to why a public defender.
Than a public defender.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know.
Why
the
is it a
details.
public
maybe,
defender? It's
he's got some experience.
19-year-old kids in a European city looking for cocaine and having cash to buy the cocaine. They're probably affluent.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and say that.
Absolutely. Yeah. But so
and not
I'm wondering why that's a public.
Yeah.
And obviously, this guy's got some impulse control.
Honestly, just eat the gelato there. There's just so
much better, right?
There's a gelato stand on every corner in Rome. You don't need cocaine.
That's a good point. Also, just don't be a drunken jerk. Really
don't kill
anywhere,
a cop
but
especially in a foreign country, you should not. Obviously, kill a cop anywhere.
No,
but
of
don't
course
go
not.
overseas and kill a cop.
You're perpetuating the ugly American stereotype, as well as just being a general ass of yourself. And plus, cities like Rome deal enough with tourists and unruly people and stuff. You just try to behave yourself.
But speaking of San Francisco, this week we had an example of a viral story on social media that led to a positive ending. Jenny Setta and her 6-year-old golden retriever therapy dog named Lily. There's Lily.
That's a pretty cute dog.
Went to a grocery store in San Francisco on July 13th. She tied up Lily outside the store and went in to do some shopping. But when she came out, the dog was gone. Surveillance video outside the market shows a man crouching down and clapping his hands to get the dog's attention. Lily walks towards the man, wagging her tail. The man then unties Lily and walks away. Jenny went online and appealed for information on anyone who might have stolen the dog or seen somebody stolen the dog. Local media picked up the story. Reporters amplified the message. Within 24 hours, a Facebook page she created to help find the dog has been viewed 10,000 times. She got a tip that someone had seen the dog with the man getting off a municipal bus, so she went to that particular neighborhood, the LA Times reports. An off-duty cop in the neighborhood told her he had seen a man playing with the dog and personally assured her he would help find the dog.
Who leaves their dog tied up outside a store? I'm thrilled that dog.
I'm with you.
I'm so happy that dog has found its owner, but for all the money in the world.
It's very neighborhoodly kind of a thing.
Care.
I think that, I see it at the beach. I see it, in little areas like this. But I always feel like the poor dog, bring the dog in with you or, bring somebody with you.
You can't leave your dog. That's just not safe.
I wouldn't do
that. It's
that.
like leaving a child. Only a child could call for help.
Yeah, and don't do it to a child either.
No, of course. But I said it's the same.
Yeah, exactly. No, but even if I'm going to duck into, buy a pack of gum at the counter where the dog is in my line of sight, that's one thing. But if I'm going in, wait out here, I'm just going to go pick up some rice-a-roni and get some Gatorade or something and do some shopping. It's a very trusting person.
I'm learning a lot about what you consume.
And, it's a San Francisco treat, right?
Gatorade.
And you had to get that in there.
But I'm thinking that, that she's also,
beautiful
who doesn't
dog.
love this dog?
Right.
People, nobody's going to steal this dog. This is a gorgeous dog. People will stop and say hello. And she's a therapy dog. Yeah. She's a sweet, sweet dog. So that night, this was making the rounds in San Francisco, apparently. The night of July 14th, an officer saw a couple walking a dog matching Lily's description. The couple said that they had found the dog the night before and were hoping to find her owner. The dog was wearing a travel pillow and had been running around in a panic in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco, about a mile away from where she was taken.
That is still not a good
As
place.
we can talk about, Tenderloin is actually a notorious area of San Francisco. It's sort of we have Skid Row in downtown LA. It's a bad place. I shouldn't say a bad place. It's a place where there's a lot of homeless folks and drug activity on the streets and that kind of thing. It's a little bit dirty and a little bit run down. It was about a mile away from where the dog was taken, and if you know San Francisco, everything is smaller and close and very connected there. This woman with the dog said, at one point she came over and sat in front of me and just put a paw on my leg. Dog was identified and safely reunited with Jenny Seda. Last week, San Francisco police arrested a man called Lee Van Loke, who was a 53-year-old local resident. He was detained on suspicion of being connected to a vandalism case. They ran his name, and they found an unrelated warrant for theft, so they arrested him. Back at the station, according to the San Francisco Gate, officers realized Loke was the man seen on surveillance video taking the dog. He's been since booked on a charge of dog theft.
Yes. And again, we see the power of social media.
Instant.
Finally being used for good.
Used for good. There's a guy that just recently wrote a book about solving murders with social media. As you know, you're thanked in that book, by the way.
A well-regarded citizen sleuth and veteran investigator.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no.
What's that
I
book
mean,
called?
she did. It's called Chase Darkness with Me. It's out on August 13th.
Say that again.
Yeah. But what?
It's our own Billy Jensen, folks.
The interesting thing here is that she went and started it right away. And as you know, being in news, dogs are page views. And people will click on a dog, especially a dog that gets stolen and a therapy dog. This thing was going to go viral. Yes, exactly. So, you know what?
There's a dog in the studio right now, by the way.
Yes, and we do have a dog in the studio,
She hasn't signed a release, so we're not going to put her
We can't say her name.
But, again, social media used for good. And I love the fact that everybody banded together. I wish they would do it for other things as well, because sometimes if I'm looking for a killer, I don't get 10,000 likes.
Yeah, no kidding. It's true. If only this dog could talk, because it's unclear how the dog ran away from the dude and was running around the streets of the Tenderloin district there. But
maybe the guy just let her go.
He might have,
he
but
didn't really want a new dog, probably.
You got to think, if you've taken this step here, maybe it's a meal ticket, maybe you can sell it. I don't know who steals a dog.
Who steals a dog?
It's a special place, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, all's well that ends well, and this dirty dog napper is
dirty dog napper. But you
cool
know what,
heels in jail.
Do you know what we get every day, every minute?
What's that? What do we
get? Comments. We have the largest true crime Facebook page in the world.
What?
And we get comments.
True.
And there is a story that happened 2 hours ago from when we're taping this. It's a Oklahoma woman arrested after refusing to sign ticket, kicking officer in groin, and it is on video.
You need to go see this video, folks.
The woman refuses to get out of her vehicle and tells the officer, "You be fair with me and I'll be fair with you." The incident started as a ticket for a broken taillight, but it soon escalated and led to the officer tasing the woman. Now, there have been people that were...
By the way, let me expand on that. She also rolled up the window and drove away, and the cop then chased after her and then pulled her over again, and then she realized how serious it was, but she still resisted him. You can see all this video. You look this up. This Oklahoma woman was finally... He tased her, and then he finally managed to handcuff her, and now she's in big trouble instead of because she was basically refusing an $80 fix-it ticket.
She did not want the $80
She said, I'm not taking that. I'm not having it. They were arguing. The guy was trying to be civil, and she said, I'm not having it. She rolled up the window. She wouldn't talk to him, and then she took off. And so could have ended worse for her.
Yes.
Other than tasing.
There are some people defending her.
Saying,
good, because the whole thing of like whether you were admitting guilt by signing it. But you just don't attack police officers.
Can't you also fight a ticket?
Of course you can.
Instead of just
but I think
kicking
maybe
an
they were
officer
at
At a
in the
certain
groin?
point, she does say finally, okay, I will fight the ticket. Okay, I'll take the ticket. Don't arrest me.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
Sarah H. said, kind of glad she didn't sign it. I enjoyed the show. Ryan P. said for $80, that's how much she spends on gas a day. God forbid she fix her taillight or pay a fine. So obviously Ryan's got other issues they're trying to work out. Once you start getting over 500 comments, people just start injecting themselves into the situation and don't even stay on topic. Sort of just like, that's how much I'm spending on groceries. I don't want to spend $80. It's like, you just brought yourself into this situation. It's not about you. It's about this woman who just attacked a police officer.
Very narcissistic.
So late model a pickup truck as well. It's an expensive truck, and also apparently this was her second time being cited for this, so she just hadn't bothered to fix it the first time. It's just all kinds of sort of, I don't have to do what you say, kind of some She had an attitude. She had a real attitude about this.
Yes. So right now, like I said, it's 2 hours old. It's gotten 554 comments already. 80,000 people have looked at it. This is going viral right now, and I hate to be entertained by such a thing.
Yeah,
you don't want to do it.
It is sort of rewarding to see somebody who flouts the law like that sort of get taken down.
Rosa G said, "I don't know why this is so satisfying to watch."
Indeed.
Yep. So there we have it.
Next time we'll cue that up for you. Yes. I don't have that on tap for you.
But we would like to thank Hungry Girl for showing up.
Thanks
for
having
talking some
me.
crime with us. What do you got going on now? What have your big projects? What's the next thing for Hungry Girl?
Well, I'm working on the next book. I have 13 books.
13 books.
13 books. I'm working on 14. And I have a Hungry Girl magazine that'll be out at the end of the year. I have a weekly podcast. I have the daily emails, which is the heart,
that's the big
heart and soul of the brand.
Okay.
And it's Hungry Girl, hungry-girl.com, right?
Hungry-girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Has Hungry Girl ever met Hungry Man?
No, but I did eat Hungry Man dinners as a child.
Oh, so did I.
Who didn't?
Oh, they were wonderful.
American, yeah.
They were great.
Remember the dessert?
Oh, yeah, because like the peas and carrots would always like
spill into the dessert.
Spill into the apple cobbler. Yeah. Nothing better.
Hungry Man and Bird's Eye, I mean, I imagine these things... you could still get them, right? I think they're all microwavable now. The thing they used to be in those tin foil.
No,
they're not as cute.
That you can throw them
when the tin and you would peel off
the oven, because that's how you got it all crispy around the edges and stuff. Boy, it just took me back a little bit there. That sounds delicious. However, I'm going to check out your site later and maybe cook something up this evening.
So, you can check out our content on YouTube and Facebook and truecrimedaily.com. And don't forget to download the weekly podcast on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play. And if you have comments or questions about the show, call us up, leave a message at 888-548-9758. We'd love to hear from you. And be advised your recording may be aired in any of our future podcasts, but that's the point. Until next week, this is True Crime Daily, the podcast, reminding you...
Don't do crimes.